Hello everyone and welcome to the Gunpla Network. I'm the Spicer and today's video is about our 2024 predictions, and as I say that, of course, a happy 2024 to you all. Now this video wouldn't be possible without those fine folks over at Canadian Gundam. Canadian Gundam is your one-stop shop for all things Plamo and Gunpla here in North America. When you're checking their vast catalog and placing your next order, don't forget to use the promo code Gunpla Network to save yourself 10% off. Now, of course, looking back at 2023, we did a prediction video very similar to this, and we only hit on two predictions, the Real Grade Epion and the High Grade Maxter. And we did about 20 different kits, so we're batting about 10%, not great. So we're going to try to do a little bit better this year, and, fingers crossed we do. But starting things off with the entry grade line, we feel like our safe bet here is the Zeta Gundam. The Zeta Gundam is probably the most next popular, iconic suit that hasn't been done already, and that's kind of it. This line seems to be hitting the high points, kind of like the real grade line initially was just kind of hit the main Gundams and go. That's what this feels like, so Zeta would make a lot of sense. As a hot take here, something we aren't really as comfortable saying is more likely than not, would be the Strike Freedom. I think it's a little complex for the line, but with all the seed stuff coming out, I don't know that Bandai can resist from taking a chance at just putting another Strike Freedom into the world. Now on to the high grade line. So we have our safe bets here, starting off with the high grade Future Century Dragon Gundam. This is one of the few remaining main Gundams from G Gundam we haven't seen yet. It's this and the Bolt, I think, and this probably makes a little bit more sense with the Shinlong coming out, I think, last year, the year before. Very similar technology as far as the arm stretchy bits go. So this definitely makes the most sense, I think, to see this year. We also have the high-grade Cosmic Era Aegis. This one's been on the list a couple of times because it almost exists. There's a Build Fighters, I think it's the Aegis Knight, a Build Fighters kit. And it's like 80% of the way there, 90% of the way there. You have a few adjustments to make. And if you're Bandai and you're not really sure the Aegis is going to come out and do really well for some reason, a bunch of seed stuff's coming out this year. Just throw it out and kind of hope that it does well, I guess. But you're like almost done. Like there's not that much sunk cost into developing this the rest of the way. And then we have the high-grade Cosmic Era Justice Gundam. Now, I know a lot of seed kits got remasters, and most of them, to an extent, are serviceable. But this one, especially if you're going to do the Aegis, you would want the updated version to go with the Aegis and the Infinite Justice that already exists. So, yeah, that just kind of filling in the line. This could also be a the next year thing. But I think if you're doing the Aegis, and if you're Bandai and you're thinking it's not going to go well, I would kind of release it and the Justice relatively close, because a lot of seed stuff's going to come out this year, which is why there's a lot of seed stuff on this list. And then lastly, on our safe bets here, we have the high-grade Dual Assault Shroud. Mostly, there's a lot of the original Gundams from Gundam Seed that could use the 2.0 treatment, or the high-grade Cosmic Era treatment, if you will. But I think the Dual Assault Shroud would probably be the best because you could reuse some stuff from the high-grade Cosmic Era Ale Strike. So you're not too far out there as far as having to fully develop a new thing. But yeah, I think those are the most likely. Now, as far as our hot takes go, I will scream into the void until I have no air left in my lungs about the high-grade Taurus. I swear, Bandai, if we never get a high-grade Taurus, I will haunt you. One day it will happen, because they'll just run out of everything else. So, fingers crossed that's sooner rather than later. Saying oddly enough on the transforming track, a high-grade Cosmic Era Murasame would be really cool. I've reviewed the old Murasame, it's fairly serviceable, it's not that bad. But with it appearing in the new Gundam Seed movie, this would be kind of the chance to do a revamp version of it, and it seems like the high-grade Cosmic Era line has leaned more, not really more into, but it's very open to doing grunt suits, and this is one I think would really be cool to see. And I'm sorry for all the Seed haters out there, because we're sticking with Seed for the rest of these high-grade hot takes. the high grade Goof Ignited. This, I think, is one of the best looking Destiny UC redesigns, and it's a shame we haven't gotten an update. Like, the original versions are fairly serviceable from what I remember, but it's just a cool design I really wish we would see more of, or even a reissue I think would be good. But if you kind of update it and do a lot of the stuff that we've seen with, like, the Wyndham and the Dagger and, like, the Infinite Justice, I think it would be a really, really solid kit. And lastly, and most definitely not least, because it also appears in this upcoming Gundam Seed movie, a high-grade Cosmic Era Jin. We have the Dagger, we have the old Jins, which are fine, but if we had a new one that was a little bit better, I think that would be really cool to go along with it. You have them showing up in this new movie. This is kind of the time to do it. So, yeah, it's kind of my thought process on that one. Now on to the real grades, and as we know, not a lot of real grades come out, so we only did 2 per section on the real grades, but our safe bets this year would either be the Alex Gundam, just because they're running out of mainline Gundams to do, and the Alex seems like kind of the most popular out of the rest of them, and the Crossbone Gundam, X2. So, you have a Crossbone, it's effectively a recolor with some minor adjustments here and there that's not too drastically different. It would be relatively easy. Whether or not we see either of these is hard to say because the real grade line just kind of goes where it wants to, it seems like. But those two, I think, cover both ends of the spectrum. And then our hot takes would be the F91 Gundam making its appearance again, because eventually they're going to have to do it because there's nothing else eventually. It's much like with the Alex Gundam, you're going to run out of main Gundams eventually, and you haven't even thought about the idea of doing like a Barbados or an Ariel. You kind of seem a little bit more invested into like the UC and more established things. So the F91, I think, is going to be a little bit less than the Alex, but I still think a reasonable guess. And then, of course, I think also from last year as well, the GPO2. We have a GPO1, both in its regular and full Bernier conversion. I think the GPO2 would be next. Would it be engineering-wise really different 100%? And it kind of seems like this would be that cornerstone for the year to just experiment with stuff, and it could possibly work pretty well. Then on to the full mechanics line. We only did one of each because, once again, sometimes a lot of these come out, but sometimes only like one of these comes out a year, so we'll see. But our safe bet for this would be the Gundam Hajiroboshi from the Uder Hunt mobile game, which is also now getting an anime in the Iron Blooded Orphans universe. So yeah, this would make sense. We had the full mechanics Barbados's, we've had the full mechanic, I think we had the Bale as well. So mainline Gundams from these shows seem to be getting that. We also had the Ariel. Oddly enough, that was, I think, the only one. I don't even know if the Rebuild got one. But this would be the next in that line. And kind of the hot take, which I don't know is all that crazy, depending on if Bandai is going to keep doing what it's been doing. And start with the Chaos Gundam. They did the 3 bad guy Gundams from Seed. It's time to jump into the Seed Destiny bad guys, and the Chaos Gundam, I think, would be the easiest of the 3, because the Gaia Gundam has the weird transformation, which you may or may not want to do. The Raider Gundam, I believe, transformed, if I remember correctly, so I'd imagine it would as well. And then you have the Abyss, and whether or not they want to make an aquatic mobile suit's hard to say, because those never get love, so we'll see. But the Chaos Gundam will be the easiest entry point for Bandai for those. And lastly, down to our master grades. We did 2 for these. There's already some master grades announced to come out this year, so these are probably announcements for like a 2025 release. Or maybe it's a big master grade year, who knows. But our safe bets would be the master grade Barbados Lupus. This has been something that will continue to stay on this list because eventually it's going to happen. The Barbie was good. People liked it. I don't know why we haven't seen even the teasing of an announcement of a Master Grade Barbados Lupus Rex. Or Lupus, and then eventually a Rex, maybe. Yeah, it's just weird this hasn't happened yet. So it's going to stay on the list. And also, a Master Grade GPO 1 2.0 would be nice. An update to the entirety of the Stardust memory line would be sick. A lot of those kits could use an update. So start with the GPO 1, then go to the GPO 1FB, and then so on, so on, so on. But the GPO 1, just base version, would be a good place to start. And our hot takes for this line, of course, are going to start with the Master Grade Aerial Gundam. Yes, Witch from Mercury is effectively done. Like, it's done airing. There's some side content coming out, but as far as it looks like, there's not going to be a successor to that show at the moment. And yeah, I mean, this would be kind of in a similar vein to the Barbie. I think it came out relatively close to the end, if not after Iron Blooded Orphans ended, so that would be in line with it. And as much as maybe it's a little divisive of a show, a lot of people like the Aerial Gundam design, so there you go. And lastly, and most definitely not least, I think is a hot take, would be the Master Grade Akatsuki Gundam from Gundam Seed Destiny, the big gold boy. Do it in the vein of its predecessor, I guess, if you will, in the Yakushiki. And yeah, like I said, a lot of Seed stuff is going to come out this year. This is no different. And there's no Seed Master Grade already announced, so I guess let's go. Anyway, thanks for sticking with us, guys. We really do appreciate it. Let us know in the comments down below what you think is going to come out in 2024, and we'll be in the comments there with you. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I truly do appreciate it. Have a wonderful 2024, and as always, friends, I've been the Spicer, here for the Gunpla Network. Please do your best to stay safe and keep on building.